Not really, no. No, I'm going to briefly say why, because what created that?
Created what?
The creator.
So that in itself is a question many people ask. So the easy answer to that is that if we ask this question ad infinitum, meaning that we ask this question that who created that, created that, and that goes on forever, we encounter the problem of infinite regress. So if we encounter this problem, the issue then is that if there's an infinite past chain of events, we will not be in the present. If there's not a starting point, we will not be in the present, because you cannot traverse infinity. You cannot, for example, if I gave you this to infinity, it would not add by definition to the infinity, you see, because infinity by itself is forever. So what we therefore say as a conclusion is that infinity by its definition is something which goes on forever, and if this does go on forever and there's no starting point, hence we would not come into the present. Make sense? It's like a dominoes effect. If you click the dominoes, it goes on forever, but it needs an initial spark to it. So the universe came into existence. So when you said initially, my preposition to you doesn't make sense, I would beg to the contrary. I would say rather it's the only plausible explanation, because the other explanation that you are considering is that the universe came from nothing, by nothing, when nothing by definition is the absence of everything in anything. So how can nothing give rise to something? So the only real viable alternative would be that a universe has been created by something beyond the universe. That makes perfect sense, because what that tells us is that before that singularity contracted and it went contracted and extracted, what we observe is that what caused this? What was that ignition that caused it? And therefore we say that it must be something beyond the universe. That doesn't necessitate a creator. What it necessitates, however, is some supernatural power is there. We would all conclude that, wouldn't we? If it's an atheist, you would have to say that when that massive explosion happened, or when that Big Bang happened with the conflation and the abstraction, what caused it? Did it have a brain cell of itself to cause it?
So you believe in that?
Believe in what?
The Big Bang.
Yeah, yes, we believe in the Big Bang, essentially, yes.
Because somebody told you to believe it?
No, because this is what the prevailing scientific model is. In addition
and you believe in the scientists?
Well, what else are we supposed to believe then? Okay, what's the alternative then?
Huh?
What's the alternative then?
I don't have the answers. I really don't have the answers.
See, that's the issue.
No, I don't. For me, it could be an issue for other people, but it's not for me. There's no issue there for me. What I can say is that don't believe everything that you hear.
Fair enough.
You can believe what you see.
Okay.
You can believe evidence. That you can believe evidence.
Yeah.
Evidence is normally something that you see or that's been gathered.
Yes.
And that is significant, I would say, which is overwhelming.
But what we would say by definition, when the Big Bang occurred, that singularity, we weren't there. But what we can easily and categorically make inference to is that the universe came into existence. Otherwise, what's the other possibility? The other possibility is this, that the universe existed eternally, which goes against established science, because it's like, why is there existence, or why does the universe exist as opposed to non-existence? What necessitates the existence? So hence we say that by definition the universe cannot have existed in and on of itself. Rather, something that's perpetuated, and the scientific data at the moment tells us that the universe came into existence. We're not living in a static universe, meaning a universe that has always existed, because it begs the question, why is there existence? So what we therefore say, according to modern science, if the universe has come into existence some 13.8 billion years ago, it necessitates that something beyond the universe created it. That's no other inconceivable alternative explanation. And are you following what I'm saying to you? So what's the alternative? Did you know, for example, the universe is made up of parts? It's contingent upon parts which form the whole. So what we ask is, why are those parts necessary in the first place? What is the cause of those parts? So we go back to the same issue again. Something beyond the universe has created the universe, and the only other explanation, therefore, it must be some sort of higher being. Because otherwise what you're saying is that this goes on forever, there's no starting point. That makes no sense. And then we say, oh, you know what? Nothing created the universe. Sorry? But the nothing but is the absence of everything? From my understanding,
I actually didn't say nothing created it. What I said is, I don't have the answers. I'm not saying I have a problem with people who believe they have the answers. And when you ask them why they believe that, it's because scientists, well, this is what scientists told them. And they believe scientists. I just believe that scientists as well, they have a narrative. They say something that will fit their agenda, or the agenda that they're working, or the establishment, whatever that they are working in.
But their narrative. Sorry to interrupt you, but the narrative is as such that they can only observe via the testifiable, whether the observable. So they've observed that, for example, the red heat shift, which when the universe expanded in its initial stages, when the helium and hydrogen went forth, did you know it went forth to the point of 32 decimal places? Had the universe not gone forth in the manner it did, in the mathematical equation that it spread forth, the universe would have relapsed. There wouldn't have been a universe. So it's been infinitely, perfectly designed, or I'll rephrase that, it's been perfectly designed for creation, for the fact that something has necessitated it, and we're here, everything is formatted for our existence. There's no such thing as randomness, it doesn't exist. So by necessity, what we say, something supernatural has ordained it in such a specific way, you know, that, just imagine you play pool or billiards, and you hit the rack of balls with a white ball. You whack it, and you do this billions of times. Every time you whack the ball with the billiard, with the cue onto the white ball, into the pack, and all the balls will go into their relevant pockets. If you do it billions of times, are you going to believe that? You will say, not on your Nelly. You're going to say something has to necessitate it in a particular way. So what we say, when the universe came into existence, the various gases went forth, but they went forth in such a way, perfected way. Had they not gone through in that way to the 0.32 decimal places, then the universe will just collapse upon itself.
Well, if you believe that, you believe that. I really don't. I would rather, one, I don't see that evidence, and two, I don't see how that helps us. People today, the struggles that they're going through. Money spent on this scientific research, I don't know if it's millions or it's billions. We keep looking back in the past, thousands, millions of years or so ago. There's things happening today. People are being slaughtered, bombs are going down on women, children.
Yep.
They're not letting in any aid.
It's disgraceful, isn't it?
But people seem to be more happy to talk about other things.
Because and you're right, I know what you're saying. It makes sense. I'll be honest with you. You're saying perfectly. But what can we do? I mean, let's. I know what you're referring to. Israel and God. The whole world is united in condemning Israel.
No. Oh, come on.
What?
Really? So America's condemning them. Britain's condemning them.
I was going to give
France condemning them. Germany.
I was giving a caveat, but you didn't let me. You jumped in. When I meant the whole world, if you look at the UN resolutions, for example, which have asked them for decades to get out of Gaza and West Bank, they don't do so, okay? So, but what I'm saying is these countries which pretend to be the antithesis, or rather, sorry, the epicenter of moral, very countries which are supporting this brutal bombardment in the West. This is a brutal reality of things, you see. So they play the moral high card. Oh, why has Russia invaded Ukraine? But at the same time, you're giving weapons of such magnitude to Israel, which is creating the anarchy. And we've seen all the imagery of the travesty that's called a present-day apartheid. Even South Africa have said this is they brought Britain and the US up to the ICJ, the International Court of Justice. But they're giving two fingers to the ICJ because they could do nothing. What it is, it's the power. If you, for example, Russia, they're not messing with Russia, are they? They're not going to say, right, you know what we're going to do? You know, unbeknown to us at the moment, there is a massive event taking place where the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, has gone to the US asking them to give the green light to enable the US and people and the UK to give them the high-tech missiles, ballistic missiles that they're asking for to bomb into Russia. Yeah. Now, Putin has made the following declaration: if this happens,
I know.
If this happens, you are complicit in what's going on. This is a direct attack by NATO. It's going to kick off. I'm just thinking, you know, when the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis occurred, we were on the precipice of nuclear war. If they think Russia is going to say, okay, you know, you can bomb us relentlessly through your proxies, and they're going to keep quiet, that's not going to happen. So we've got to be very, very careful. London could be a first target. London could be potentially a first target.
It will be, because London England, Great Britain will be complicit.
Exactly.
In attacking it.
And they'll probably attack here first. Afterwards, they'll probably may attack Paris or
whatever. This will be an easier target than America.
Exactly. I mean, they can reach America, no problem. They've got the most brutal nuclear weapons on the planet. You know, nothing can hide it from them. So why these warmongers are actually desperate for it. Just imagine he goes there, he's having a chat away with Biden at this very moment. And if Biden says, all right, we'll give you the thumbs up, in addition to the $60 billion in aid, we're going to give you permission to use our weapons to strike deep into Russia. That is asking for war. Simply asking for war. Now they've got to come straight back, but people are going, but no one's even knowing what's going on. We are on that precipice now. This is not saber rattling from the part of Russia. So you're right, I do, but at the moment, what can we, if we scream to our voices, if in 70s in this country, we were screaming out, why do we have support of apartheid system? Who was listening? Nobody listened. It only came down in its due time. So hence, we are helpless in many ways. But we've got to unite as people to say this is not acceptable. All these protests which have taken place in central London over the course of 1 year, democracy in action. Let's go and protest. You exercise your democratic right, but stuff your democratic right. We're going to do what we please, even the millions of you circulate around central London. This is democracy for you, the beauty of democracy. So what we say as theists, there's a better way. That way is we believe that God has created this universe. He wants us to live according to his will. And that is justice for all. Goodness for all. No oppression to anyone. And this is what, from the paradise. So I exactly do understand, and you make sense what you said. I'll be honest with you. People do say in comments that we have on our YouTube channels that there are more pressing, and right, but we're helpless. What can we do? If we want to change it for the better, the media's going to call them. I was in central London, I was calling out loudly, one of the very few people, for Suella Braverman to get the sack because of her inflammatory comments. I was on a mic speaking out. And next day, I read an article in the paper saying there are Islamists in the march who are causing a nuisance, and they are trying to sow discontent and calling them extremists. But what we're saying, you are supporting the brutal occupation, and yet we've got to keep our mouths closed. We can't follow the pain of the humans and our brothers and sisters in Palestine. We can't express that. Come on.
The only one who's helping them really is Iran, I believe, who's helping the Palestinians.
Well, I mean, at the moment, no one is helping, to be honest. Even Iran is just taking a back seat. There was a little bit of an interlude when they had with Israel, but that quickly ended. But Israel, in the meantime, through backing of the United States and Britain, it's putting its claws in and now ripping into Lebanon, as we're seeing.
They killed hundreds of people a couple of days ago. Was it yesterday?
Yes. And they are.
No one's saying nothing, no.
They are
not getting no coverage.
Exactly. They are an illegitimate state.
These were
in 1948, they massacred.
And the excuse what they say is, well, Hezbollah's got like some underground under those flats and whatever.
Yeah,
so it's okay
tunnels.
to kill these hundreds of women, children,
men, it's a pretext.
Innocent people.
It's a nice little.
What I look at in society now, if you speak out against killing innocent civilians, they look at you as some sort of extremist.
Yes, exactly.
When you're talking about peaceful means, diplomatic means, if you don't go along with their agenda, they slander you, they slur you.
Exactly.
And that's why they would never ever let someone like Jeremy Corbyn be Prime Minister, because he's anti-war, he's anti-imperial, he's anti-invading. He doesn't pander to the will of Israel.
Do you know what?
If you don't pander to the will of Israel, you're out.
You're out. Listen, check this out. When apparently the Jewish lobby came out because he was on the verge of, the populists were very happy with him, and then this anti-Zionist machine came out to say, oh, he's anti-Palestine, he's anti-Israel, he's an anti-Semite, and there's anti-Semitism within the party, right? Just because of the fact that he used to go to Finsbury Park in North London and give the thumbs up to support the Palestinians. He's been out there firsthand himself and seen the atrocities that take place. So because he spoke out, they couldn't tolerate it, and before you know it, Bob's your uncle, their whole media came out and the British cowered to them, and before you know it, Boris Johnson took the place. I interviewed Jeremy Corbyn about a year ago nearly on one particular channel. I interviewed him and I told him, listen how much of the fright they put up him. When I put the mic next to him in Finsbury Park, going back about 8, I said, Joe, I said, listen, you would have been, people know you would have been the Prime Minister of this country, right? And we know the Zios came after you. And you know what? He got frightened. When I said it, he said, no, don't talk about it. Let's just speak about other things. He just went like that because he knows that if he starts speaking out again, they're going to come after him. and they can just finish you just like that, as they say. So the problem we got over here, they're pulling the wool over the people's eyes. That's what they're doing.
If you speak out against Israel, they call you
anti-Semitic.
Yes, what they call you.
Anti-Semitic. On YouTube,
you can criticize Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You can criticize anyone, America.
Yes. Yeah.
But you cannot criticize
But
Israel.
Israel,
Criticize Israel.
Yeah.
They call you anti-Semitic.
and they've got.
It's like they're above any other human being.
Precise. And on YouTube, there is actually their policy makers in the US will come in the open and tell us this. They say, they basically say we've got you wrapped up in our gloves. And they say they basically say that we've got our machine in progress. The moment that people in Europe speak out against Israel, we'll accuse them of being deniers of the Holocaust. If anyone speaks out against them in America, they're called anti-Semitic. Notice the different way they do it.
Yeah.
The ones in Europe are referred to as Holocaust deniers. The ones who do it in America, they're deemed as anti-Semites. So they've got everything, because we know they control everything like with a grip. 48% of America's billionaires are Zionist Jews. That's a brutal fact. They control affairs. But the moment you say that, zitch, they'll have you.
You know that's the truth.
Yes. That's why Benjamin can stand in the middle of the UN, braggadocio
as far as I'm concerned, there's really not a lot of difference between Netanyahu and Hitler.
Yes, absolutely. But here we are, they're in supporting of him. They're supporting him.
Then there's Nazism. There's no difference. There's no difference between what he does and what Hitler was doing.
Absolutely, yes. My friend, it's been great speaking.
At least we can agree politically.
Yes.
Definitely.
Can I compel you maybe to get a copy of the Quran free of charge on the table we've got there?
I'm going to be honest,
Yeah.
I don't literally read any papers.
Okay, no problem.
Paperback or anything at all.
All right, that's fine.
But at least we agree
on that.
What's going on.
Because it shows to me you're a decent human being.
And you're not blind to what's going on.
But it shows to me something else. You've got excellent qualities about you. You've spoken up, and that's good, and I respect you for that. Well done, my friend. You have a great evening.
Take care.
Take care of yourself. God bless you. Take care. Very pleasant man. Very, very pleasant. Okay, he doesn't believe in these things, but he's got a human heart, you see. So seeing what's happened, he's spoken up. And that's all we can do, you see. And may Allah guide him, inshallah. Allah put this in his heart to reflect, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, so like I said, we're here to not just we need to speak about these issues in relation to how can you be a human being and not feel the suffering of what Palestinians have been going through for decades, which is now reaching its culmination in the ethnic genocide, South Africa. So we need to be really reflective upon this point. So again, obviously this is objectives that it's out of our hands. What is in our hands, we're doing whatever we can. We're trying to propel Islam because Islam is against oppression. Islam is against injustice. Islam is ubiquitous to everyone, hence it's spreading. So we make a further attempt now to try to call people to the religion now. Let's see what happens. Free information Islam. Have a read for there, please. Good evening to you. Free information Islam, perhaps? So even now it's quite late here. I think it's pushing 8 p.m. if I'm not mistaken, or perhaps it's gone by there as well. So we're looking, I think it's gone well by in fact. It's 8:30. So I think we're not going to be here for too much longer, but it's been a productive day. We've had 3 shahadas, people have been taking the leaflets left, right and centre, and we're fully expecting, inshallah, over the next few minutes that further attempt will be made. So we're only going to be here for a short while longer, but it's been excellent so far. Good evening to you both. Free information Islam, informative. Good evening to you, gentlemen. Free information Islam, very informative. Well done. Have a good day. Good evening, sir. Free information Islam. Have a read through there. Evening, sir. Free information Islam. Good evening to you. Free information Islam. Good evening to you. Free information Islam. Very informative. Hello, free information Islam. Thank you. Okay, that's enough I think. Let's quit it now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A break, brother. I feel a bit exhausted after that.
We haven't been used much.
Inshallah.
Let's shut this.
Yeah.
Them. And then they got stolen.
Yes.
Probably lost about 2 or... The van got stolen, didn't it?
Yeah, they won't be careful.
Yeah, take that. Okay, Sam, brother, I'm going to make a good day, inshallah. I will see you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hamza, bro, I'm off now. Jazak Allah Khair. See you next week.
Did you see Raheem?
No, I haven't been to that. My son, I think, sees it, but I'll probably pop in.
No.
Okay, brothers, I'll see you later. Assalamu alaikum.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. سيتمروا إن شاء الله بكم الله خير. Okay.